The market doesn't know what keeps you up at night. It doesn't know when you want to retire, and it doesn't know how old you are. The simple truth is, the market doesn't care. But if you care, you've tuned into the right place. You're listening to Investor Resources, bringing clarity to the confusing world of finance. Here are your hosts of Investor Resources, Don Creech and Perry Sykes.
I'm Don Creech.
And I'm Perry Sykes, and welcome to the Investor Resources Podcast. If you're enjoying these podcasts, please take a minute and subscribe to make sure you keep getting the newest ones as we release them. And if you have anyone else in your life, friends, family, coworkers that would benefit from these, we would appreciate it if you pass that along, forward this along, and let them take a look at it also. Thank you.
Well, what is the big driver for the stock market this year? Beyond any shadow of doubt, I think we have to conclude it's artificial intelligence, which, while it's been around for some time, didn't really get recognized as a world changer, a life changer, business changer until the introduction of ChatGPT.
Correct.
And all of a sudden, it's like there was a booster rocket that was fired underneath technology, and things began to go parabolic in the stock market. As long as this isn't like the tech bubble back in 2000 where you put .com behind your name, and now today you just add your name AI and assume everything's going to be okay.
Right. Because anybody that's watching, anybody that's paying attention AI, especially generative AI, where it's producing things, some of it's really bad. There are some really bad AI out there, because if you're not good at it, whatever you're doing, it's still the same old formula: garbage in, garbage out. And so you get some really bad generative AI out there. So it's easy to see when it's gone wrong. You need to be good at it, but it's difficult for some people to wrap their head around how fast it's being adopted, how deeply it's already ingrained in businesses worldwide, and how much you're going to need to continue to not just embrace AI, but to make it part of your daily routine. It's going to get there anyway, and the sooner you can not be afraid of it and go ahead and start using it, the better off you're going to be.
Well, it doesn't matter where you turn. You probably are already using it as it is now. As long as you turn on your
True.
computer or your smartphone,
Yep.
you have AI built in. And you have people who are serving you who have AI built in. What comes to mind right off the top of my head is the Amazon truck driver.
Sure.
I mean, Amazon uses AI to map out not just the route that the drivers are going to take to make it the most fuel efficient way to get there. It maps out where in the truck shelving the package is supposed to be, so the driver doesn't have to shuffle through stuff in order to find what he's supposed to drop off at this particular address.
It's amazing. Yep.
And that's not something that's quickly done manually. That's where artificial intelligence comes in. You're searching for something on your browser, on your phone, or on your computer. AI's in charge. I mean, it's going to self-complete your sentences, create related material that you're looking for. There's no way around this. It's kind of like a computer. For a while back in the 80s, you could avoid using a computer. They were.
Well, you got told to. I'll never forget when PCs came out. The person I was working for in the financial industry said, the last thing I want to see is a computer on anybody's desk. It's a giant waste of time. Don't do it. Just we've got things to sell. I was back in the sales days. We got things to sell here, and that computer will do nothing for you. Don't get a computer. It's going to kill your business. And that person's no longer in the business, of course, because they miss that pretty bad. So they're doing something else now. But you're right, Don. AI is the same kind of thing. Same thing like when the internet came on, and even when the internet became ubiquitous in business, everybody said this is going to be a really big deal, but nobody really understood how big a deal it was going to be. It was going to change things to the point where companies don't run without the internet anymore. The pathway to exist without being online doesn't exist anymore. And AI is the next step in that. in that it's going to help you do especially the mundane tasks that we all have to do, and it does a very good job at it, and it's going to just continue to get better and better and better, to the point where it becomes invisible. And that's when you really have to, you're really going to have to begin to trust your sources for everything, because as you said, Don, it's part of everything as it is now, and that AI solution is going to be part of almost everything you do online, and so much you do not online, if it's in your job. And there's going to be, it's already implemented quite widely through the business world, and it's just going to continue to expand. And you're going to need to be a part of it to be successful.
So if you have a job, if you're still working, the odds are you are using AI, and once you get used to it, the odds are increasing that you're also using it at home, assuming that you have a computer or a smartphone and you're accessing those at home. What this survey showed is that the usage, whether at home or at work, is occurring frequently.
Right.
It's built into the system. There's another chart in here. I scroll down to it that shows the adoption rate is really much more rapid. We were just talking about a personal computer. It's much more rapid than personal computers were. So
Right.
this was the PC adoption rate. And I remember that my wife's when I brought one home, she wanted nothing to do with it. She finally got one at work because she was doing accounting work, tax record keeping work for businesses,
There
and
you go.
she had to learn the program. She was very frustrated. But if you wanted to do something with the computer, you had to understand the DOS operating system, and that meant you knew key code commands, and that there's no real easy cheat sheet for figuring that out.
Right. Right.
When Windows came along with the icons and the buttons you could push, it made things a lot easier, and the adoption rate picked up. But we look at what's happening here with the internet, which was much faster than the PC. Of course, that made PCs much more uh, productive in order to be able to find stuff. And here we are now with the well, I'm sorry, that's the internet. That is the internet. Generative AI, oh, is here. It's a little dot.
Just starting.
It's
Yeah.
just getting started. We don't even have a line for it yet. So this is
But it's
th-
starting
this,
at a 40, it's starting out at 40%. It's starting at a 40% adoption rate. So it's going to, and it's going to increase. We're going to see a parabolic rise in what it's doing because of the adoption rate. And like I said, Don, even if you don't know it, you're going to be using AI. And the people that do know it, though, are going to have an advantage in that it is very powerful for handling a lot of the nuts and bolts stuff in many, many industries, mostly white collar stuff. That's another one of the big things. This is going to be a white collar revolution, in that if if you're a carpenter, AI is not taking your job. Somebody's got to be out there hammering nails, and AI is not going to do that yet. Can't do that yet. It will, that's going to be a ways off. Right now, it's going to immediately move into the white collar world, though. And if you're an attorney, if you're a financial advisor, if you're a computer programmer, your life is completely changing right now because of the tools that become available. And you can say, I'm not going to go there, but the people that do, they're going to be much better than you, and they're going to have much more time to do other things, because all of that mundane day-to-day work is going to be soaked up by AI.
that's going to happen in education also.
Sure. Oh,
Because
yeah, sure. Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is.
that's going to give more tools to educators to focus on and free up their time to focus on specific needs of students as far as tutoring, helping them get through complex stuff. But
Yep.
if you have to deal with, well, we do this in the securities industry. If you need to take a securities test, you don't need an instructor. You just simply buy a course and it tests you. And if you don't do well enough, the testing system will tell you you have to go back and start over with the material. We won't let you take the test anymore until until the
Right.
system sees that you have restudied the material.
You're not ready yet. Yeah.
You can't bypass the system. You think of automobiles, that's all the self-driving vehicles, the robo-taxi issue, auto vehicles are concerned, or autopilot vehicles are concerned about.
Yep.
That's coming, and in different parts of the country, we're doing test markets. We see that happening. It's going to expand rapidly. Again, it's a very rapid adoption rate because AI is making things possible that we used to believe were impossible, and you aren't going to avoid it. You would be surprised how this is changing the way you live. But I mentioned Amazon a little bit ago. What about
Sure.
just generally supplying a retail store like a grocery store or a drugstore or a clothing store, being able to track what is selling, where the inventory is available, in which warehouse, and how it gets to which store it actually needs it. If it's turning over product in one store but not in another region, why ship it there? Just because you had it on the truck doesn't make any sense
Right.
anymore.
Right. And that's one of the things with AI. It's not like you said. Now during the internet uh, boom, there was a huge amount of just pure hype. This is new, it's cool, it's never happened before, and we think it's great. And that was all well and good, but there didn't have to be any real business there. You just had to have a great URL, and you were in line for millions of dollars of backing. The AI revolution is coming through now is coming through because it's making things so much more efficient. It's making things and not just efficient in the world of science. Say the number of experiments you can do virtually now are limitless compared to needing to take years to do something in a petri dish one at a time. You don't have to do it that way anymore. That changes the very nature of the way the research is done, because it is so much faster and so accurate. And once you verify you're getting results that are usable, it changes everything. And so it happens. That's why it's happening so fast, not because of hype. I've seen AI experts talk about how their view is it's not being hyped enough. People don't understand how fast this change is coming and how much it's going to change everyone's life, both in and out of business.
So here's a table that was in the same article. This is data from the Federal Reserve, say out of St. Louis. So writing communications. Well, this is where you mentioned lawyers. They have to write a lot. They're writing their arguments, their legal briefs, uh, searching for facts, information, documentation, or detailed instructions. I've been, I've been trying to get some detailed instruction on installing a new a new monitor. And you can't talk to anybody anymore. You're on your
Right.
own.
Right.
if if they haven't figured out what your question is, there's no answer for it.
It's not coming. Yeah.
You try as you might, and anyway, it's their translations and interpreting other languages. So you have that app on your phone that you can speak to somebody in another language just by changing the option on your phone. I mean, the way it's going to get used and incorporated into our lives is beyond anybody's imagination at this point in time.
It
It's
is.
it's kind of like, what's the benefit of electricity? Nobody understood what, how massive the change would be in our world just because we had electricity available to us. And
Yeah,
and the benefit.
the most recent use I heard it just cracked me up because it was something I'd never thought of. It's the drive-through window at a fast food restaurant. Those are going to be all run by AI. Why? Because they'll immediately speak 15 different languages. But more importantly, they will understand a heavily accented US language from all those 15 languages too. So if you just moved here last month from Italy and you're speaking English with a heavy Italian accent, AI is going to understand you anyway. And it won't be a constant game of what did you say? You're moving right through, and would you like large fries with that? There's going to be no lag at all, and it's going to understand everything from day one. That's a huge advantage to both parties, and it's something it hadn't even occurred to me. And there it is, already being implemented now.
Well, plus the accuracy on the orders has increased significantly. The time through the drive-in lane is shorter.
Right. Right.
So, so it's a win-win all the way around. Well, if you found this interesting, you probably have friends, family, and coworkers who probably find it interesting also. We'd appreciate you passing this on, share the link with them, and subscribe. There's a button right down below here on the screen. If you want to participate or be in, listen to our monthly stock market webinar where we talk about what's gone on, and we don't forecast stuff, but we give you our best vision of what we see out of the current data. You can register on our website for that. It's the first Saturday of every month, 9 o'clock in the morning on Pacific time. If you register and can't attend, we'll send you a replay link. So do both. Subscribe to the podcast, register for the webinar, and we'll look forward to being with you on our next issue. Have a great day.